Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina and I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, we are back again for our monthly anti-haul video. So if you want to know what crap has been released and sneak peeked over the last month that I'm not going to be buying, then let's jump on into it. I have a lot to talk about. I have a lot of opinions. You guys know how I roll. I like to share my opinion about crap makeup that I am not going to buy. So let's start off with this baby right here. I think I started last month's video off with this palette as well. This is the BH Cosmetics latest addition to their Birthstone collection. This is the Diamond palette, and this palette is trash. I think this is the worst one yet. I think I said that last month for, I can't even remember which one it was. Aquamarine. I think I said that last month for the Aquamarine palette, but this one is worse again. This one has, from what I can see, there's two shades in there that look very similar to each other, that being Diamond and Neutral. And then there's another 3 shades that look very similar to each other, which are Stunning, Fearless and Bling. They're all quite similar to each other. I think this is very boring. Once again, we have the giant pan in there. Same deal as always. I would much rather this be an 8-pan eyeshadow palette instead of a 7-pan eyeshadow palette. I don't doubt that this might be a really good formula because I've heard really good things about the BH Cosmetics formula, but I just think the color story and the layout of this palette is trash, so I'm not going to buy it. If I'm going to spend my money on stuff from BH, it's going to be something else. It's not going to be these palettes, and I just think they need to give it up. Give it up. Quit while the going gets tough, because it's only going to get worse. Next up is something that I think could possibly be one of the stupidest things that I've seen released all year. That is this release from Fenty, and I still think that this is a practical joke, and I'm waiting for Fenty to come out with like a post on their social medias going, ha, we got you guys, but they haven't. And I did actually check to see and confirm that this wasn't a April Fool's joke, because everyone was asking me in my live stream and everyone was saying it's a joke, like you were taking it too seriously. But then I actually went to their website and it is not a joke. I have confirmed this is not a joke. It probably should be a joke, but it's not. This is the Fenty Beauty Glossobomb dip. So it is like an old school mobile phone where you can clip it on your belt, but in lip gloss form. And the thing that gets me even worse in this release, the fact that they say that you can now easily clip it on your clothes, belt or wallet for a peachy nude glossy lips in just a few clean, sanitized, in brackets, finger taps. And I think that this alone, the fact that they have the fact that they have specifically stated in their like marketing release of this product, clean, sanitized, they already know that this product's going to get shit. They already know that this product is going to get blasted till there's no tomorrow because of the current climate. Nobody wants to be putting their fingers into gloss, lip balm, lipsticks, what have you, while they're out in public and apply it to their lips. It's just gross. It's unsanitary. It's even unsafe. Like if you are putting your dirty grubby mitts into your lip gloss and then onto your lips, and then you're potentially consuming that, the bacteria, what have you, it's very unsafe, and I don't think it's a good idea. Like I said, I'm still waiting for Fenty to say that this is a joke. Will I be buying this? 100% not. Would I include it in this video if I was going to buy it? No. This is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous for so many reasons, and Fenty know it. Like they already know that it's ridiculous. I don't know why they've bothered even releasing it. Another thing that I thought of as well is I worry about this product for those of us that are in quite a hot climate. I can just imagine this being in your handbag and it melting and just going everywhere in your handbag, because the actual mechanism itself doesn't appear to be all that airtight. So I imagine that this is going to melt and just go everywhere in your handbag, and it's just going to be a hot mess. You're going to have to throw out your favorite handbag and everything that's in it, because it's going to be covered in like a sparkly nude lip gloss, and it's not going to be a good time. The Mary Jane palette, or the Mary Jane collection from Melt Cosmetics. This was released as part of their 420 collection, Melt is quite a weed based brand. They like to do a lot of collections based on weed, and I'm not a massive fan of it. I feel like it's getting to the point where you can only use the same thing so many times before it gets a little bit old. On top of that though, I have seen a few people actually review this palette and they have given it terrible reviews. Like, the formula on this palette is shite according to some of the reviews that I have seen. I have always found Melt to be either have like amazing reviews on their palettes, or it's like really bad reviews on the palette. There's not really a middle ground with them, and this is one of those palettes that fall in the like really bad category. The third round of the Makeup Revolution and Friends collaboration. I've never been a massive Friends fan. I just didn't really grow up with it. I didn't really have that connection with Friends that I know a lot of people do. I'm kind of in the minority in that respect, and I totally understand that, but I just wish that Makeup Revolution would move on. I know why they haven't moved on, because I know that they're probably making a lot of money from this collection, from those diehard fans, but I am over it. Like, I am well and truly over it. I wish that they would just move on. I'm sure that everything in this collection or has been in the collection is trash, because I traditionally don't enjoy the Makeup Revolution formula. I don't think that they are the best quality, color payoff wise, and all of that. I don't think they're the best quality. On top of that, the color stories as well are very boring. We have some new products from Stila. These are the new Camouflage Beauty Eyeshadow Palette and Nobility Eyeshadow Palette. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about these eyeshadow palettes. Firstly, starting with the Camo eyeshadow palette, I don't see camouflage when I look at this palette. When I think of camouflage, I think of like nice olive greens, like mustardy greens, murky greens, like something that's gonna make you camouflage into your environment. I'm thinking like dirty kind of colors when I think of camouflage. The outer packaging of this palette looks more camouflage than the actual colors inside the palette. Then we move on to the Nobility eyeshadow palette, and when I think of the word nobility, I think of like royalty, high quality, high society, classy, quality, rich, the nobleman, like the high class of society. So the fact that this palette on the outside has like a camouflage print doesn't really scream nobility to me. And then the colors on the inside as well don't scream nobility to me either. When I think of that, I think of like rich like jewel tones and shimmers, like rich golds and metallics. I don't get that when I look at this palette. So I don't really see the themes of the palettes reflected accurately in the eyeshadows, and the formula and the swatches look really lackluster as well. Next is a palette that I actually almost purchased. This is the BH Cosmetics. Why do I keep saying BH Cosmetics? This is the Be Perfect Dream Big palette. I am a massive fan of the Be Perfect formula. I have two of the Stacey Marie Carnival palettes. I have the first one and the third one. I think their bright color formula is amazing. I think it's one of the best. I think they do really good bright palettes, but this palette is huge. Like, it is really big. Again, they have this like affinity with massive eyeshadow palettes, and I just think they need to just make something a little bit smaller, maybe do more capsule collections rather than including everything that you could possibly think of in one eyeshadow palette. We have a lot of different formulas in here, as well as what they like to refer to as a matte cream. This is supposed to be a smoky shadow base, and then there's also a shimmer cream as well, which is supposed to be a shadow base. And then there's also a shimmer gloss, which is supposed to be a shadow topper. So what I'm getting from the description of these three is that there's actually cream products in this palette, and I don't love it when creams and powders are mixed. I find, especially if you have like quite a really light toned cream product in a bright eyeshadow palette or an eyeshadow palette, that has different colors or different formulas. A lot of the time the powder shadows can like, they just like go on a little vacation over to the cream product and they totally mess up your cream product. And on top of that, because these are pressed pigments, means that they can be quite a powdery formula. I traditionally have found that the BH, there I go again. I have traditionally found that the Be Perfect formula can be more of a powdery formula because they are a pressed pigment. So they can kick up a bit. They can leave, you know, some remnants behind in the pan when you dip your shadow brush in. So I just think that this palette is going to end up a hot mess with the creams in there. I don't think it's a good idea. You know, Huda's tried it before and it hasn't really gone down very well. So I don't think that this palette is going to be the best. I think it would have been better if they came out with like a little duo palette of the creams by themselves, especially because they have a like smoky shadow base, which I'm assuming is like a black. Then they have a cream shadow base, which I'm assuming is like a white, and then a glossy topper. I think those three would be really like a really good idea in just a trio alone, and then have the palette separate. So have them like as an accompanying duo in the collection as opposed to all in the one eyeshadow palette. I just don't like it when creams and powder are mixed and there's no like little flap over the creams to protect it from the powders. Oh my gosh, next up we have Neapolitan Ice Cream in both a lipstick form and a lip gloss form, or I should say a lip balm form. This lip gloss just gives me stress. It induces stress for me because I can just imagine that this is going to start mixing really quickly. You know, we have the white color in the middle, pinks on top, browns on bottom. It's going to start mixing really quickly and it's going to look like a feral, gross mess super quickly. And I want to know what color this is going to end up being once it's all mixed. Next up we have, oh my gosh, I feel like this is a joke as well. I swear this is like an April Fool's joke, but you know, Kim K didn't get the memo. So this is the KKW Beauty Eye Contour Duos. So these are duos of eyeshadow. So each, there's 3 palettes. They each come with 2 shadows in them. They look like contour kits, essentially. They look like they are contour products. I think that if you already have a large eyeshadow collection or you have a large makeup collection, just use your bronzer on your eyes. You can use bronzer on your eyes. It does the same thing. Just grab your NARS Laguna and put it in your crease and it'll do the same thing. Grab your you know, your Benefit Hoola, chuck it in the crease, it's gonna do the same thing. You don't need to go out and actually buy a eye contour duo specifically to do your eyeshadow. You already have these products in your collection. I can 100% guarantee you that is the case. Then it comes with this super duper cheap looking double-ended eyeshadow brush. This brush looks like it will be so scratchy on your eyes. My eyes are already like just getting irritated by the thought of it. It looks like it's super duper scratchy on your eyes and your eyes will just be irritated and sore from using it. Some new products from Illamasqua. So we have some, what are they called? They are called the color correcting bronzers, and then we also have the Hydra lip tints. I'm going to talk about the lip tints first because I have thoughts about the bronzers. So the lip tint, I feel like the lip tints are a little bit redundant other than this orange and green one. I think the orange and green one's pretty cool because it is a little bit more like color theory. To create the color on the lips that you get from it. The rest are all quite generic when it comes to color theory. You know, we have like a purple and a red. It makes like a purpley red. We have an orange and a red and it makes an orangey red. Like some of them are quite generic. The yellow and the purple one, it's kind of cool because, you know, it's got a little bit more of a color theory to it. The peach and the red, it's a little bit boring. It comes off like a pink. So there's a few in there that I think is really cool because it takes the color theory like one step further. Whereas there's some that are just very basic color theory and it just looks like you're putting a normal lip product on. Whereas, you know, if you're pulling an orange lipstick out of your bag and it's got a green stripe through it, everyone's going to kind of be like, what are you putting on your lips? And then when it comes off, how it's going to come off, it's going to be kind of cool. But if you're just pulling out like a peachy color with a red through it, no one's going to really care. Then we have the color correcting bronzers, and I have some thoughts about the bronzers. One, I feel like the blue in the the blue and the bronzer is kind of pointless. I don't really understand why they've thrown the blue in there. I personally, when I've done makeup on other people, I personally have never grabbed for a blue to color correct on the face under or over a bronzer. And I've never actually seen a makeup artist do that to color correct someone with a bronzer. So I don't really understand why the blue's in there. And then when you hear how the lead makeup artist from Illamasqua uses this bronzer, he basically says like, you know, there's 3 shades, but his favorite way to use it is to mix them all together and then use the bronzer that way. So if your lead makeup artist is saying that his favorite way to use this new product that you're coming out with is to mix them all together, I don't quite understand why you've gone to the step of separating them. Why not just mix them all together and come out with one color? And then there's no real photos in these marketing images where they've actually really showcased how to use the blue. And then also on top of that, the blue is quite a small strip. So I know most people use quite a large brush for bronzer, so it's a little bit difficult to get in there and kind of separate the blue out. I think if you're going to be trying to use the blue with, say, like the warmer side, you're going to end up with the cooler side on your brush and vice versa, because the pans aren't that big and the blue strip in the middle is not that big either. So I think it's kind of pointless. Next up, we have a new product from ABH, and these are makeup removal wipes. I just wish that Anastasia Beverly Hills would read the room. This is 2021. Nobody is buying or releasing makeup wipes in this day and age. I feel like they should have read the room when Patrick Starr brought out the makeup removal wipes last year. You know, he got totally slammed for those makeup removal wipes, and rightfully so. ABH is getting the same treatment again. I think that this is one of the worst products to be releasing, especially in 2021. If you yourself are using makeup wipes, I really think you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and think about the environment, think about the impact you are making on the environment, think about your carbon footprint. There are better things that you can be using, and there's also a lot better things that you can be using for your skin. Actually use a cleanser to take your makeup off as opposed to makeup wipes. There's reusable cotton rounds that you can use with micellar water. It's all going to be better for your face than makeup removal wipes. A lot of makeup removal wipes have a lot of alcohol in them. They're single use. They're quite often housed in plastic packaging. So it's all like waste upon waste upon waste upon bad for your skin. Another collection from HipDot. This time they are collaborating with Reese's, and I just wish HipDot would go back to their original stuff. Like when HipDot first came out, they were releasing some pretty cool stuff, quite new and exciting stuff, whereas all of these collaborations that they've been doing with a lot of intellectual property of late, I found quite boring and disappointing. So I wish that they would just go back to the drawing board. When they first came out, they were bringing out some really exciting color stories, really pretty stuff, and all of the stuff with the intellectual property I haven't really liked. So they just need to let it go and stick with their own stuff, because what they actually do in-house and what they create in-house with their own stuff and their own brand, I think is really good stuff. And on top of that, these eyeshadow palettes that they have in this Reese collection have pressed glitters in them. And so if you are not a fan of pressed glitters, I would steer clear of these. And HipDot do a lot of pressed glitters in their palette. So just be careful if you are buying from HipDot to just look at the formulas on the shades in the palette, because they do a lot of pressed glitters in their palettes. Oh my gosh, and this is probably the biggest disappointment from Inglot I have ever seen. That's a lie. But Inglot's trying. They're like when a cat has fallen off the top of the couch and they like claw into the couch and like climb their way back up to the top of the couch. That's Inglot right now. Like they've just fallen off the back of the couch. They've caught themselves and they're like trying to claw up, but you know, gravity is just taking hold, because this is so bad. Even the names they've come up with in these 6-pan eyeshadow palettes, we have Sheen Tangerine, Wanna Banana. What else do we have? We've got Wink Pink, Lila Vanilla is another one. I think the worst one is the Creech Peach. Someone in the comments, please explain to me what Creech Peach is, because I have no idea. It doesn't really make sense to me. There's 6 in total. These are $40 US each. I mean, Price wise for Inglot, I think they're fairly reasonably priced. You get a 6-pan eyeshadow palette for 40 Australian dollars. So I think that they're a reasonable price. They are in the magnetic pans. So if you do finish one, you'll be able to like refill it. That being said though, I think Inglot, most of their shadows are square pans. So I don't really understand why they've brought these out in round pans, because if you do want to mix and match with your existing Inglot collection, if you do want to refill, it's going to be quite difficult to refill or mix and match, because, you know, square peg, round hole doesn't really work. I think Inglot has just really shot themselves in the foot. They've always been very kind of dismissive of social media and social media marketing. So I feel like if they actually really jumped on the bandwagon back in their infancy or back in the day when social media was just starting on the rise, I feel like they would be a super popular brand nowadays. I think that they would have gone from strength to strength as opposed to slowly dying and being a forgotten about brand. Because long before like Marlena with Makeup Geek and the individual eyeshadows, you know, MAC and Inglot were kind of the first ones to come out with that stuff. But because Marlena was on social media and she was constantly promoting her stuff, she is kind of seen as the trailblazer for that kind of format, whereas MAC and Inglot have been doing that stuff long before Marlena. So I think that if Inglot actually jumped on the social media, they did more PR, they did more marketing, I think that they would be really good and they would be really, really popular. Next is something that no one asked for. This is the new and improved 350 Supernatural Glow Artistry palette from Morphe. No one asked for this. No one wants it. If you did want it, you probably would already have it. They have kept 22 shades from the original palette and added 11 new shades. I mean, the swatches, they look nice. They do look like they are either swatched wet or photoshopped. It is what it is. I don't need it. I'm not going to buy it. I don't think you guys need it. Like I said, if you already wanted it, you probably already have it. And then last but not least is this other release from Anastasia Beverly Hills. These are the face palettes. So these are a trio of face products. They come with a bronzer, blush, and highlight in them. They are a little compact palette. I'm not going to buy any of these because I don't really like being told what suits me, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of you are in that boat as well. I think, in my personal opinion, I think this would go down better if it was more customizable. Like if you could, 1, customize the outer packaging, and then 2, customize each color that you got in your little trio. So for example, like me, the palette that suits me obviously is the pale one. But I, for example, don't really like the blush that's in that palette. I think that I would much prefer to get the blush that's in the darkest palette because it's something a little bit different to my collection. I already have a lot of these like lighter blush tones in my collection because that's generally the go-to for pale skin. But I would like something different if I'm picking up a palette like this. So I would like to have the option of mixing and matching what I got in this trio as opposed to the stock standard of what they've got. Then on top of that, I think that done a good design by having the bronzer a little bit bigger than the blush and highlight. I personally still think that you would probably go through the bronzer a lot quicker than the blush and highlight. So I would like to see a refill option of these palettes because I think you're still going to burn through the bronzer a lot quicker than the blush and highlight. A blush of this size, traditionally, depending on the formula, can take anywhere from like 8 to 12 months to get through. Bronzer of this size, if you are using it every single day, and once again, depending on the formula, I'd say you could easily go through that in 6 months. So I think you're going to get through the bronzer a lot quicker than the highlight and the blush. Highlights always take like 12 plus months to get through. Like some highlights, 12 plus months to just hit pan on, let alone finishing it up complete. If you are still here, let me know down in the comments all your thoughts on all of these products. Are you going to be picking any of them up? While you're down there, make sure you like this video. You can also subscribe to my channel for future anti-hauls. You can join my membership and applaud this video if you like. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope that you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I hope that you are staying safe and healthy and looking after yourself. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.